At the second surface, light travels from glass to air, that is from denser to rare medium. And light bends and again suffer refraction, so bending away or normal, this is later on, but light suffers refraction at two surfaces. So what is a prism? What is a prism? Having two refracting surfaces.
Refractive.
Having two refracting surface, right? Prism के दो refracting surfaces होते हैं, and prism light को डबल सरफेस प्रोवाइड करवाता है, प्रिज्म लाइट का डबल रिफ्रैक्शन करता है, प्रिज्म लाइट को डेंसर से रेयर मीडियम में और रेयर से डेंसर मीडियम में उसका रिफ्रैक्शन करवाता है, एंड लाइट को बेंड करता है. प्रिज्म बेसिकली लाइट को दो बार बेंड करता है, एक बार अपने फर्स्ट सरफेस पर और एक बार अपने सेकेंड सरफेस पर. आई एम मेकिंग अ डायग्राम फॉर यू. I'm reading from the book for a while. A prism is a transparent medium bounded by two refracting surfaces. Prism के दो refracting surfaces होते हैं. Prism is a denser medium bounded by two refracting surfaces which provide light double refraction. Light का double refraction होता है. Light suffers double refraction when passes through the prism. And light bends two times also. Light bends two times, and it bends and it again bends. And we take out the final deviation of the prism as such. Okay. So a prism is a transparent medium bounded by a 5 plane surfaces with a triangular cross section. Two opposite surfaces of prism are identical parallel triangles, while the other 3 surfaces are rectangular and inclined to each other. So shows a prism in which the opposite surfaces ABC and DEF are triangular. The prism section of the prism is a triangle ABC. The BAC is the angle of, I'm making a diagram once again without any of these writings there. Good. Is a prism. हमको prism का एक फेस दिखाई पड़ रहा है, क्रॉस सेक्शन दिखाई पड़ रहा है हमको prism का. इसको ABC मान लीजिए. ये एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म, ये एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म कहलाया जाता है. इसको हम एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म कहते हैं. ए से लिख लीजिए, थीटा लिख लीजिए, whatever and what not. There is the first refracting surface and the second refracting surface. Okay. The two surfaces of a prism are not parallel. Now, what is the difference in the glass block and prism? In the glass block, there were two refracting surfaces parallel to each other, first surface and second surface, right? But in the prism, the two refracting surfaces are inclined to each other. They are not parallel to each other. That is a basic difference between the glass block and the prism. Okay. So please understand that. Please understand that prism provides two refracting surfaces inclined to each. Somebody is speaking in between. Please don't do that. Don't spoil the video. So prism provides two refracting surfaces inclined to each other at some angle of prism A. So हम angular prism को A से represent करते हैं. The two refracting surfaces of a prism are not parallel to each other, but they are inclined on each other, making angle A called angle of prism. We are going to show the ray diagram, and we're going to prove we're going to prove the relationship between, I will take it later on. First of all, understand how the light suffers refraction through the prism. Please take this carefully. Please note in the diagram in your book and try to make it. इसका diagram बनाने को हमेशा generally आता है, इसकी labeling करने को आती है, या diagram बनाना भी इसका बहुत important है. So I take one incident ray. Right? Now, because I told you, whenever light falls on an inclined surface, on a plane surface, there should be a normal always. तो ये normal है, ये surface पे perpendicular draw कर रहा है, ये normal नहीं है. That means there is an angle of incidence. I, there is I1, you can take I also, you can take I1 also. That's your choice. बताइए, light is suffering what kind of refraction? Rare to denser. Now that means light will suffer bending, light will suffer refraction, light has to change its direction, light has to change its velocity, light has to change its wavelength. All happens here. Everything is happening in this. So light is falling on surface AB. It discovers a second medium which is dense in the previous medium. Light has to bend towards a medium, is slow down, changing its direction. So light has to bend towards. So at the first surface, light is going from air to glass. Light bends towards the normal. Light bends towards the normal. And so I got a line like this. Light would have gone like this. Isn't it? But because it meets the prism in between, so light ने अपना path change कर लिया और वो इस path पर यहां से यहां पर bend हो गई है. Okay? Angle of refraction तो normal से ही बनेगा. So this is the first angle of refraction. कौन कौन ये बात समझ गया?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is what happens. This is what happens at the first surface of the prism. So I am doing it for the first surface only. All of this first surface पर इस तरीके से light अपना path change करती है और ऐसे bend होती है towards the normal. Okay. Right.
Yes, sir.
Inside the glass, inside the glass prism, light is getting a homogeneous medium of glass everywhere. It does not suffer any kind of refraction through the prism. It travels straight inside the prism. It reaches from point P to point Q here. So now the turn of light to bend again. So at this surface, I will again draw a normal. I will again draw a normal. Right? This is normal number 2. So what do you mean by a normal? What do you mean by a normal? Normal is the
perpendicular to the refracting
perpendicular on the
surface at the point of
surface. Quite. Normal is the perpendicular to the refracting surface. at the point of incidence on the refracting surface. Okay, so light is incident at the second surface, traveling from, बोलिए, traveling from denser to
Glass to
rare
rare
medium,
medium.
denser to rarer
that is
medium.
glass
Denser
to
to rare.
air.
Glass to air.
It will
Glass
bend
to air.
away. It will bend away from the
Away
normal.
from
Not
normal.
normal. From the normal.
Light has to bend away from the normal. So light again bends away from the normal. Light bends away from the normal. It simply bends towards the base. You see very carefully, light again suffers deviation here. Light का दोबारा deviation हो गया है. Light का दोबारा deviation हो गया है. Light was traveling like this. It bends like this. So if I produce the final light backward, here, the angle at which this emergent ray and the initial incident ray meet with each other, we call it as delta 1. इसको हम delta 1 बोलते हैं. Delta is basically the final deviation in the path of the light. You see very carefully, this is the first deviation here. And this is the second deviation here. And so this is the sum of these two. And this is the sum of these two. So basically, जो light के path में final deviation आता है, that light was traveling, I make it separately, light was traveling like this, and it comes out like this. So ये light का final deviation है. This is equal to the deviation at both the surfaces. It is a total deviation added algebraically at the first and second surfaces. Light has suffered a little bit at the first surface and a little bit at the second surface. So light always deviated. Total deviation is always equal to the sum of deviations at the first surface and at the second surface of the prism. Note down this in your book that मैं बोल रहा हूँ लिखिए the total deviation in the path of light is always equal to total deviation in the path of light is always equal to the sum of deviations at the first surface and at the second surface. At the first surface and at the second surface. Total deviation at the prism is equal to deviation to the first surface and at the second surface. तो हमको basically दोनों का total sum ले लेना होता है. That is the total deviation suffered by the light here. So delta equals to delta 1 plus delta 2. Delta 1 क्या है यहाँ पर? Deviation at
Deviation at the first surface.
and deviation at second surface.
Second surface.
Second surface.
They are the two deviations for the light. First deviation is from air to glass. and second is from glass to air.
Glass to air.
Bending towards the normal and then
And bending
away
away
from
from normal.
okay, that is what total division is there in the prism. Now I take 2-3 more points here. That one thing more is there. This first surface light is going from air to glass, and second is going from glass to air. So the light is reversing the medium basically. And one more thing before that, we are using here a monochromatic light. Why? Why it is a monochromatic light ray? Why do we use, इस question को लिख लीजिए book में, why do we use a monochromatic light ray in the prism? I'll tell the answer later on. But note down this question in the book somewhere. You should keep on making the notes on the side. We don't require a copy like Hindi medium boards and write down the, theory and all. It's not. Make a smart note. Make small line note somewhere. Why do we use a monochromatic light ray while experimenting a printing to a prism? Okay, and I'll discuss the answer later on. So at the first surface, light suffers refraction from the air to glass and from glass to air. It suffers refraction from air to glass at the face AB, so it bends. So it bends towards a normal PN, making an angle of refraction R1 and towards along PQ inside the prism. This PQ is a refracted ray. The refracted ray strikes the surface AC at an angle of incidence R2. Now, incidentally written as R2. Don't take a refraction का angle है. ये incidence का angle है. यहाँ पर R1 तो angle of refraction था at the first surface, but at the second surface, R2 is the angle of incidence. Okay. So it suffers refraction from glass to air, so it bends away from the normal NQ and emerges out of the prism at QR at the angle of incidence I2. Thus, QR is the emergent ray. This point is Q. What is this ray? This ray is say 0 point source are like this ray is the incident ray. And this is the emergent ray.
Emergent ray.
Emergent ray.
Yes, sir.
This is the emergent ray. So we got two types of rays. So we can make an arrow out of them. So this is the inward light and the outward light is going and is going out. That's how prism behaves. These are the angles we have on the whole. The prism, this is the delta, this is I1, this is R1, R2, and then this angle is a normal, right? Also normal, also normal. So what this angle would be, this angle is E. This angle is the angle of emergence. This angle is the angle of emergence. All right.
Yes, sir.
So this is
Yes,
the
sir.
angle of emergence coming out from the second surface. Okay. Fine. Now
Yes.
light is getting
Yes.
the medium and reversing the path. Light has to reverse its path. Due to principle of reversibility of path of light ray, if a ray directed along RQ is considered as an incident ray, it will follow the path OPQ. It means that the incident ray RQ, the emergent ray will be OP. Now they are saying here that if light follows the path of reversibility of light, then if I take this ray as an incident ray, then light will follow this path only and get emergent out at the point PO, isn't it? Then it gives me an idea in my mind. That means angle E and angle I1 should be same. इस बात के according to क्या होना चाहिए? कि एंगल ई और एंगल I1 आपस में इक्वल होने चाहिए, right? Right, is that clear?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, okay. So
Yes, sir.
what we should do further in each, so in the prism, the ray of light suffers refraction at two inclined faces, AB and AC. Now, underline this point in your book or write down, listen very carefully. At the first surface, light is bending towards the base of the prism. Light OP bends towards the base of the prism. Similarly, light also bends at the second surface also, it bends towards the base of the prism. At both the surfaces, light is bending towards the base of the prism. So OP ray is bending towards the prism. PQ ray is also bending towards the prism. If light is bending towards the prism at both the surfaces, don't think light is bending towards the prism because it's bend like this only. It is because although it's suffering refraction from ray to dense and dense to ray medium, but incidentally it comes out to be that it finally keep on bending towards the base of the prism. Although at the first surface is bending towards the normal, at second surface going away from the normal. All right, this happens in the refraction. At the first surface AB of the prism, the ray OP, instead of going along OPM, has been OPM. This path is OPM. M here. So O, B, and M. This point is N. That was going like this, but it bends, no? It bends towards MQR. Okay. In the first surface AB of the light, instead of going along OPM, it is bent at P along PQ. So suppose the deviation by the angle MPQ equal to delta 1. There's the angle MPQ. MPQ, this MPQ, and angle is delta 1. Light car deviation at the first surface. At second phase AC, the ray PQ has bent at Q along QR, which appears to be coming from MQR, so suffers a deviation by an angle MQP along delta 2. At second surface, the ray PQ has bent at Q along QR. You see here, and so it appears like it's coming from MQR, right? That's the deviation by an angle MQP along angle MQP, the second deviation here. There's a second deviation here. Light suffers deviation at the second surface by delta 2. Charging में लगा रखी है इसकी laptop. Okay, is that clear? In the absence of
Yes.
Yes.
prism, the incident ray OP would have traveled along OPML, that is OPML. This point to up. Light would have gone like this, no? But you're getting light here. Getting it along MQR. तो जो light ray OPML पर जा रही थी, वो हमको MQR पर मिलती है. That means what has prism done? Tell me, what has prism done? Prism has bent the light. Prism has bent the light from its horizontal path by a total angle of delta. So delta is the total angle of deviation equal to total deviation the first and the second surface respectively. Thus, the prism has produced a deviation by angle LMQ. You see here, this one they say LMQ. This angle is the total angle of deviation in the prism. Fine. Tell me, it is called the angle of deviation and is denoted by the Greek alphabet delta. So delta is the total deviation. This is the purpose of prism actually. The prism provides a double refraction and produces a deviation in the path of light known as denoted by the letter delta. Delta is equal to sum of two deviations at the two surfaces of the prism, AB and AC. Is that clear to you all?
Yes, sir.
Any
Yes,
point
sir.
that is not clear here, please
Yes,
ask me
sir.
right now. Please ask me right now. Any point is not
Yes,
clear
sir.
to you?
सर एक चीज पूछनी है
हाँ जल्दी बोलिए.
सर एंगल एमपी क्यू का सब रिलेशन बता दिए एक बार फिर से
What?
सर एंगल एमपी क्यू एक बार फिर से समझा दिए
Angle MPQ is the angle of deviation of the first surface. लाइट में जितनी बेंडिंग फर्स्ट सरफेस को हो रही है वो एंगल MPQ है, और जितनी बेंडिंग हो रही है सेकंड सरफेस पर वो एंगल MQP है. डेल्टा 1 फर्स्ट सरफेस पर है, डेल्टा 2 सेकंड सरफेस पर है. इन दोनों का सम डेल्टा के बराबर है. डेल्टा is the sum of these two angles basically, and so we call as this delta the total angle of deviation caused by the prism. Okay, is that clear to you all?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
when you should all make a diagram in your copy properly.